Hi, I'm Scott Kerber, and today for my oral history project, I'll be interviewing my dad. This is the final project for History 324. And Dad, I'm going to kind of let you take over on this one.
All right, first of all, I'd kind of like to get to know a little bit about your background, where you're from, kind of where you're born and raised, and what you've done throughout the years here.
Sure. Well, first of all, my name is Dan Kerber. I was born in 1952. I'm 57 years old now. I grew up in the area on the east side here, St. Clair Shores, Michigan, until I was 5th grade. Then we moved downriver to Gibraltar, Michigan, and I stayed there for until I went into the service. I was in the Air Force for 4 years as a military police officer, and then I graduated from Eastern Michigan University with a criminology degree, and I was hired on as a law enforcement officer here in Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan. I've been an officer here for going on 28 years now.
All right. Well, Dad, my sister and my little brother and we've all grown up being big fans of sports, and they've been a big part of our life. You growing up, when did you first become interested in sports?
Well, when I grew up, my family that I grew up with, we had 7 kids in our family. I had 4 sisters and 2 brothers. I'm the second to the youngest in the family. And I would say right when I was old enough to grab a bat and ball or football or any type of basketball, I was pretty much into sports from moment one, as soon as I could get out and play. Being a big family, there wasn't much more we could do. Everybody played with each other in the family, and we got together, and that's what we did during that time.
Now, sports wouldn't be what they are without the athletes. Was there an in particular athlete growing up that you admired, or?
Sure. Like I say, when I was little, I would go out in the front yard of my house for hours and hours and hours and imitate Al Kaline, who was a Detroit Tiger. I would throw the ball up in the air, and I'd actually be the broadcaster too, which would be Ernie Arwell. And I would say, Kerber's back to the fence, and reaches over the fence and stops the home run and throws the guy out at home. I mean, for hours I would be out doing this. And Al Kaline, I mean, he was my idol, and so that's who I pretended to be all the time.
Now, was baseball your true love, or were there other sports that you enjoyed?
Yeah. In high school, I played, it's funny to say, probably baseball is my true love, but in high school I played basketball. And I started off playing football, but I was a little guy at the time, and I just was too small and was getting beat up too much, so I quit football. I went to play basketball through my 4 years in high school, and then I also joined the golf team. And golf and baseball were on the same season, so that's where I ended up playing golf instead of baseball.
Looking at sports today as kind of compared back to when you're growing up, how would you say that they're different?
Well, sports in general, baseball is still a baseball game. I mean, they're pretty much all the same. I guess we all, as a kid, it was a little bit more imaginative, I think. Today we have sports so on TV so much. Everything's so bombarded against us. I mean, when I was a little kid, we'd watch baseball on TV and maybe see 1 or 2 games a week, if that, and it was black and white TV, and the only football game we'd ever see would be the Detroit Lions. Again, that was 1 game a week we would see. But now you turn on the TV on a weekend, you'd probably get 30, 40 football games if you wanted to. And so I think it's much more saturated. I mean, you're just bombarded with it. But it's there because people love it. I mean, people enjoy sports. And I guess it was there when I was at that age and it was on that much more, I'd probably enjoy it too. But so yeah, I guess that's about it with that.
Yeah. Kind of going along with that, what was the most exciting game you've ever seen or been a part of?
Well, that's an easy one. I mean, I guess it would be my first baseball game I was ever taken to Tiger Stadium. My grandfather took me. I remember it. I was probably 11 or 12. Walking up to the ballpark at Tiger Stadium, or Brick Stadium at the time. And as we're walking up, I mean, this is the first professional game I've ever went to. And the outside, there's just a carnival fest going on outside. I mean, there's people selling programs, there's people selling balloons and popcorn and peanuts this is before you even get into the game. And then when you walk into the stadium, when you're inside the stadium, it's really dark when you're walking the hallways and stuff and finding your way to the seats. But once you find the tunnel that you're going to, or the aisle that you're going out into the ballpark, and you walk through that, and it was just, this is what I remember the most, it was spectacular. I mean, you walked out there, and there you were, you're looking down, we were on the third baseline, probably 50 rows right off the third base dugout. And when you walk through that dark tunnel and you go out into the field and you see the field for the first time, it is immaculate. It's beautiful, green, the crowd, and you remember now, I've only saw games on black and white TV. I mean, this is colorful. Just hits you like HD TV today is. I mean, and that's what really struck me that day. And then to see my idol, Al Kaline, who was in right field. I mean, I just could not take my eyes off of him. And I think that the really interesting thing about it was when you see a game live, instead of on TV, a small black and white TV, here it is green and the dirt's red and the players, their uniforms, it was a sunny day that day and their uniforms are just brilliant. But then the game starts, and then you see a ball hit, and it looks like it's going, it just, like it goes out into outer space, the ball just loops way up in the air, and you don't see that on TV. You miss that, and man, you think every ball they hit is going to be out of there, but then the guy goes back and catches the ball, and that's a different perspective. And that day, I mean, I watched Al Kaline and saw him go on a line drive into the corner, pick up the ball, and throw a line drive home and get the guy out of home. The same thing I was playing myself in my own mind when I was a little kid out in the front yard throwing the ball up. I mean, he did it. And so, yeah, that's kind of a day I remember for sure.
Now, you're talking about that day as a fan. Do you think that experience for the fan has changed, through the years with the players and even, with the environment at the stadium?
Yeah, I don't think kids today have that same loyalty to one team. I mean, it was the Tigers, and that's all the teams I ever remember. That was it. Now kids they see so much baseball. Their favorite team may be Los Angeles or something. It's not even a hometown team. Kids don't really. I mean, that was it. If you weren't a Tiger fan, you were nothing. And so, yeah, I think the loyalty is a little bit different. And I just think the game, the players are a little bit different too. I mean, if you want me to talk about the difference between the players when I watched them and then the players of today.
Yeah.
The players when I went, of course, they didn't make the big money that they make today. When we go out and watch baseball teams play today, they're multi-millionaires out there playing. You got blue-collar Dan sitting in the fans, sitting there watching multi-millionaires playing a game. And when I was a kid, I mean, these guys they got paid, but it was nowhere near what they got paid today. They were baseball players. They played for the love of the game, and at the end of the season, they would have to go get another job for off season to make it through back to when they could go back and play again. So I think the players had much more loyalty to a team at the time too. We would have players on our team that were here for their whole career, and so loyalty, I think that's gone a lot off the wayside. Yeah.